Donald Trump also taking aim at news coverage of the war in the United States. Now the head of the broadcast regulator in the U.S. has come out with a threat. Brendan Carr, a Trump ally, who now says he will revoke the licenses of U.S. broadcasters over their war coverage. Willie Lowry looking at all of this from Washington. Willie, good morning to you.
Morning, David. The Trump administration appears to be increasingly frustrated with how the media has been covering the U.S. war with Iran. On Friday, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth called out CNN as fake news. That's not a new kind of complaint of his, but he also complained about a specific report that CNN had ran, essentially alleging that the U.S. had underestimated the impacts that this conflict would have on the Strait of Hormuz, which of course has become a real focal point of this war. And then on Saturday, FCC Chair Brendan Carr issued really a not so thinly veiled threat to U.S. media across this country on social media. He said, quote, "Broadcasters that are running hoaxes and news distortions, also known as the fake news, have a chance now to correct course before their license renewals come up." Now, U.S. President Donald Trump said he was thrilled by Carr's decision to take aim at broadcasters. Late last night, he spoke to the media. Let's take a listen to some of what he had to say.
I actually think it's pretty criminal because our media companies, who have no credibility whatsoever, are putting out information that they know is false.
Important to note here that the FCC doesn't control the airwaves for everyone, but essentially the public broadcasters across this country. A lot of the big networks will use those smaller affiliates to get their content to kind of local communities across the country.
A threat is only as good as the weight behind it. Is there weight behind this?
Well, it's really hard to say. The specific genesis of this threat appears to have been a story not ran on air, but in print by the Wall Street Journal that said 5 U.S. refueling aircrafts had been damaged in a strike in Saudi Arabia. Trump lambasting that story on social media, saying that 4 planes had only been lightly damaged. They were already back up and running, and a 5th was on its way to be back up and running. But the issues kind of actually predate this conflict. Obviously, Trump has long had a complicated relationship with the media. He has coined the term fake news, even though he is perhaps the most accessible president in U.S. history, gaggling nearly daily. He has never been shy about accusing the news of bias. And so we'll have to kind of wait and see just what Carr really does in the end.
Willie, I'm going to pipe in because your use of the verb gaggling, I love it, first of all, but I want to help people understand at home that gaggle is a long time used White House term to describe when the president or the press secretary gather reporters, and it's a bit more informal, but I appreciate you using it. I want to clarify it a little bit. Look, those not in power...
Falling into the journalism... Yes, thank you, David.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. But look, let's talk about Willie, some of the reaction that we're hearing, particularly from the Democrats.
Yeah, absolutely. Not surprisingly, David, that reactions really falling along partisan lines. Democrats slamming the administration over this. Senator Elizabeth Warren on social media said, quote, "Constitutional Law 101. It's illegal for the government to censor free speech. It just doesn't like about Trump's war. This threat is straight out of the authoritarian playbook." And California Governor Gavin Newsom, quote, "If Trump doesn't like your coverage of the war, his FCC will pull your broadcast license. That is flagrantly unconstitutional." And the RTDNA also coming out in support of broadcasters across this country. But David, this is an issue that will likely continue to come up as the war in the Middle East continues to grow.
Willie Lowry, as always, a pleasure to gaggle with you.
Thanks, David.